Coming to you straight out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And brought to you by the Sioux Empire Podcast Network. This is Urban Indianz Podcast. Outsiders, it's on fire. To everything that we touch, and we will go lava. Like acrobats, see us flying the twist. Off a cliff and never drop down. I do a bit, so hands up. Eyes out, yeah, throw your hands in the sky. Rosebud pine, rains down to the sky. Raise up your fingers, so we coming with the raw. Raise up your fingers, so we coming with the raw. Bringing you an educated and entertaining look at life through the eyes of the modern-day Native American. Urban Indianz Podcast. Hosted by everyone's favorite natives. Night Shield, Night Shizzle, Miss Shark Green Maximal, GP, Gorilla Pimp, and Kathy Stans. You're listening to Urban Indianz Podcast.
14 of the Urban Indianz Podcast. I am your host, Gabriel Night Shield, joined as always with Char. Levi, unfortunately, is not here, but Kathy is here, and we have a special guest today. Taralyn Blue is in the studio with us today. If you want to maybe give us a little background information on you, Taralyn.
Hi. Lived all over Minnesota. Grew up childhood in Minneapolis, Morton, Minnesota, Redwood area, Wilmer, Sioux Falls.
What type of native are you?
My dad is Sisseton, Lake Traverse. That's where he was born. My ma was born in Olivia. She's Mdewakanton, Lower Sioux, which is where we pretty much grew up as kids, teenager, graduated high school there. And yeah.
Right on. You call her your ma?
Mm-hmm.
Is that awesome? Usually it's like mom, or I call my mom mama. But yeah, I never heard ma before. That's
no,
awesome.
she's in my phone as ma. When I'm irritated at her, it's mother. But it's
right on.
Ma.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, Levi unfortunately isn't here. I think I said that already, but I think we had a pretty big thing happen this week where with the Keystone Pipeline oil spill. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
It's like not surprising, but
yeah,
it's kind of really disturbing to see like what the process is going to be like, you know, for cleanup and all of that.
Yeah, they said at first, like the first reports I saw, that it was like 200,000 gallons or whatever, and now I was reading just before I came here that it's up to, they're estimating around 600,000 gallons. So it's pretty fucking crazy. It's like, it's just like, imagine you're living in that area and fucking 600 gallons of fucking oil is just on your land. Just like, I don't know how the time frame is as far as like getting that cleaned up or whatever, but I would think it would be like, you know, it would probably take it like a year or so to like clean that up, or it would probably never be the same in that area again. Yeah. It's fucking terrible.
Or if they'll even properly clean it up.
Yeah.
Clean it up on top, you know, and then cover it
And
up.
I've always been confused, like, who pays for that? Is it
the oil companies, I think, yeah.
They pay for everything.
Bunch of fucking oiled up prairie dogs out there.
I wonder if there's anyone, like, for all this, and now they're, like, reeking and all this bad stuff.
Yeah.
Are you drinking that water?
That was a big concern they had in that area. Was the people in there now that the drinking water, they're not sure if it's contaminated or not. But I would not fucking test that shit out.
I know,
okay, so does
fine.
it like actually does it go through the Sisseton reservation? Does anybody know?
Yeah, it's on reservation land.
Like
I think
right in the middle of it, or just
I
like on the
think
edge
it's
there?
maybe
it's
probably
in
on
like
the edge.
some weird town I've never even heard of.
Yeah, it's like north,
it's right.
west, South Dakota. Which I don't know what the fuck.
It's like
there.
near.
I know where Marshall County is. I just don't know like what exactly where it's at.
Yeah.
It looked like it was between Aberdeen, kind of, and like Sisseton, so it's kind of like in between, in a weird spot.
Oh, it's that close to us? I thought it was like up, like in the corner.
I don't know.
Right?
No, it's kind of up over by Aberdeen.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like
it's kind of by
a little
Brigham.
more up from Aberdeen.
Oh, okay.
Between
I thought it was
Sisseton.
like northwest, like north of Rapid City area.
Oh
No, it's
northeast. Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
Like it's the one that comes right down outside of outside here. I think it's actually, is it the same one that leaked on that farmer's land? Was that earlier this year?
Yeah, I think that was.
Is it the same one?
I don't know either. Was it Keystone?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
It probably is, I'm sure.
Yeah, because there was a spill, a small. I mean,
Yeah, it is a Keystone Pipeline, and it was in Amherst, South Dakota, which is.
Oh, I know where that. That's where Sherry used to live.
It is just outside of the reservation.
Yeah.
Man.
It's by like Britain and Claremont and Hecla, like in that triangle.
But is that the one that comes down and that leaked earlier this year down over by Lennox or somewhere over there?
That I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that.
Yeah,
I
I
forgot
can't
what town
remember.
it
I
is.
remember reading about it, but yeah, it wasn't as big, I don't think. Like a leak.
Yeah, this is like the second biggest oil spill as of right now, anyway, in South Dakota history. It's not the biggest, but
Where was the biggest at?
that was the one that was like in the northwest part of the state and was like a decade ago or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, the State Department of Energy guy came out on Friday in a press conference and he was talking about it and he's like, no, it's not the biggest one. That one was, and then he listed all the facts on that. So,
That's
but
crazy.
still significant.
Yeah,
How
it
big
doesn't-
was it? The biggest one?
I don't recall. I can find out for you.
That would be. I wonder. It would be interesting to go to that land now and see what it looks like now.
Yeah, they did like an aerial shot of it, and
Yeah.
Just
It looks like all like dark.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, oily.
But I'm sure,
Yeah.
like up close, it probably looks, a lot worse.
And I was reading too that was like the oil that spilled from that pipeline was like the thicker, like muddier type oil where they have to use like a water solvent to like break it up. So it's not even like the oil that we might be familiar with. It's like the thicker, like
Yeah,
Tar
it
sand
isn't more
oil or
potent.
whatever.
tarish type. So yeah, those prairie dogs are fucked.
Whatever else is running around.
Yeah, bunch of snakes.
Deer.
Well, and two, there's like line 3 that's people are protesting now. It's in more northern Minnesota, and they grow like wild rice. They make their money on that and stuff like. So this pipeline that just broke, like, that reservation, like, what did they lose? Rice or
Yeah.
any kind of money that they
I wonder.
profit stuff.
They have to have like some type of insurance, I would think, on that land.
I hope so.
Probably. So
Yeah.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
companies are responsible for cleanup, but they are not fully, because we love our oil companies, they are not fully like what you'd consider bonded,
Yeah.
like secured, so that if Keystone went belly up like tomorrow, that we're guaranteed that there's like Lloyd's of London or somebody in the background is going to like pay for the cleanup or anything like that.
Yeah.
That was actually, it's a platform thing that Billy Sutton, the Democrat candidate for governor in South Dakota, was tweeting a lot about on Twitter, because he actually introduced a bill that got shot down demanding that the pipeline contractors that pass through South Dakota are fully bonded.
Wow. That would be fucked up.
It would be, nice, since this seems to happen. I mean, the last really big one that I see here on the list of oil spills that happened in South Dakota was in Menno, South Dakota in 2016. And then,
Is that the one last year?
okay, yeah. Menno, South Dakota, 55 tons. Yeah, wow, okay. Like a 12th the size of this oil spill.
So that one probably didn't get as much coverage. And I've been surprised at how much there hasn't been coverage on this oil spill.
Well, I'm not.
I'm not
either.
I'm not really, but
Yeah, somebody should come out and say sorry, or this is what fucking happened.
Yeah.
Well, I've been seeing it a lot on the local media, and obviously they're all getting it from, the reason that KSFY and KLN are out there is because they get their affiliate dollars from CNN and CBS National and stuff like that from going. When you watch CNN, you'll see like in the corner of their footage of the cleanup site, it's like courtesy of KSFY. They're getting paid off to provide that to CNN.
Yeah.
And so there is some coverage of it, like that, where I'm pulling a lot of my stats here from an NPR. They have a live blog on it where it just gives updates. Like its last update was last night at 7 p.m. Let's see. Yeah, this is the one that says that it's an estimated 210,000 gallons or 5,000 barrels of oil now.
That's crazy.
So that pipeline is underground, right? Or
It is.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem, because this is something I heard on national NPR yesterday driving back from work, is that the woman who is the state senator for South Dakota for that corner of the state, that's her district, she was saying that when they built that pipeline, they were in the middle of some of the wettest years they've had, like 10-year like high wet point, and they have been for a really long time, and now they're in like a 50-year drought, not like 50 years long, just like once every 50 years level of drought. And she's really scared that means that the way the pipeline was built was for wet ground, and as the ground dries, because they haven't found the cause of this yet, it might be a design flaw in like soil moisture, and if that's the case, these leaks might start breaking out all over up and down the line, which would be a disaster.
Part of me is like, man, I hope that is what fucking happens, but then like the other half's like, no, fuck that. That would be like, you want to be like, see, we fucking told you, and then but then
like you don't want to.
Then it's like real
Yeah.
life, like you know,
Yeah.
people are like losing stuff.
yeah,
It's
it's crazy. I don't know. I was reading. I saw this thing on fucking Facebook. I think I might have shared it to our page or not, but I was like, last year at Thanksgiving, the natives were being shot with fucking rubber bullets and attacked by dogs, and you know, getting sprayed with fucking water cannons.
Trying to stop a
That is
pipeline.
insane.
Yeah,
That it
and then
broke.
this Thanksgiving
A pipeline
you
is
know,
leaking out in South Dakota.
on the reservations.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And then that kind of brings me to like I seen that article of the young lady who almost lost her arm, who
Yeah.
got shot, or I can't remember. It couldn't.
yeah, like a concussion grenade.
Yeah, I can't even say
It's actually a defective smoke grenade that exploded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like that was her first time like talking about that incident, and they have a picture of her arm. And
Yeah, her
All
arm's
of
like
that.
all
Mhm.
fucked up.
she said
That's
she can't even
gross.
use it. You can't feel it. It's mostly numb. So,
Gross.
Mhm.
I wonder, like,
And she's still being an activist.
Like
and
who
all of
pays
that.
for that?
yeah,
Does she sue
I'm
the
guessing-
government?
Well, I think there's court battles like in the process. I think
Okay.
so, but they're trying to fight it, and there's a lot of things that they think they have backed up to.
Yeah, that's
the
its
case.
own can of worms as far as
Mhm.
even something as simple as medical attention for people who were at those protests. Because in the North Dakota legislature, they introduced a really scary bill that basically would have made it so that your insurance company could go, oh, you got this while you were illegally protesting, so your insurance company doesn't have to pay you for, you know, your medical care. They're exempt from covering you for that.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah.
I wonder if IHS would cover some shit like that. Like if you went to IHS
I wouldn't
and
want to
then
go there and find out.
yeah,
I know.
yeah, you definitely
End up
lose your
worse,
arm.
yeah.
Fuck. They cut off your other arm.
Yeah.
No arms.
Take it right
Fuck. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. Yeah, that seems like a nightmare.
Yeah, her dad's a lawyer, so I'm
Oh,
sure
really?
she's getting a lot of help.
Yeah, I wonder, like, yeah, if you just be out there, just like, you know, with like hundreds of thousands of fucking dollars in like medical bills and without any like help or whatever. I don't know.
That
Yeah.
would suck.
Yeah, it would be. I don't know. That would be hard because then it's like these people can make a decision like if your health is covered or your health.
Yeah.
Care.
Yeah, and they're not trying to probably pay all that kind of fucking money out. I don't know.
Probably not.
Yeah, that's some bullshit. If you're paying for insurance, they should have to pay for your shit, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, you're not picking, oh, I don't want to pay this month because, you know, you guys did something, you
Yeah.
know, or whatever. You're paying for it, you should get your coverage.
And that goes into like a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
That's like
That's
a whole
crazy.
episode itself.
So that's sort of like a
Yeah.
good transition to like this being our Thanksgiving episode or whatever. Our Thanksgiving is coming up in a couple days here. I know natives have like an issue sometimes with Thanksgiving. I guess Thanksgiving to me, like I just, it's just a time for our family to get together and eat because we're fat. But like I know a lot of people have like really strong opinions on it. Like when I put that thing up today on Facebook, some people were like really fucking going off on that.
And some people do go off, but then it's like they still eat turkey and get together. You know what I mean?
I saw one rant that was like that was like very, very angry about the holiday, and I don't celebrate it or acknowledge it. Of course, we're gonna have a big meal because that's fun.
Yeah.
And then they're like, but seriously, fuck Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's like,
and
okay.
To me, it's almost like, how can we like take back this day? You know what I mean? And educate people. I think for one, because a lot of people don't even know. They learn one thing that they were taught in elementary school, and
I just recently learned
very
that
narrow.
I didn't know Squanto was, or what's his name? Squanto? What's his name?
I think it's Squanto, yeah.
Okay.
I think.
No, yeah, it's Squanto, because Tonto's the Lone Ranger, yeah, right?
There you go.
Okay, so Squanto was kidnapped from here and taken over to England as a slave and escaped from over there and came back.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh, what movie? Somebody made a movie about it that's like the true story of his life, and it's fucking incredible. But it's like, because he's like, as a teen, he's kidnapped by some of the really early, like before they even settled Jamestown or even thought about settling.
Or something.
Yeah, just, along the shoreline, they picked him up and were like, oh, a native, cool, throw him in the boat. And so they go over to England, and he's like a slave for a while and a servant, but, he's very intelligent, and so eventually he kind of like befriends the guy that bought him, and I don't remember all the details, but eventually he gets the money and stuff, and he comes back. But by the time he's come back is the beginning of the English settlement in that region, and of course that brought with it the disease. So there's like a part in that film that is epic where he comes back to the village that he grew up. It was like, he's been away from 10 years for his family. Everyone's dead. The village was just completely depopulated by disease. Yeah. And, that's part of, getting into putting on my archaeologist hat here. That's part of why when European settlers came to the land, lots of times they were just like, this place is amazing. God just made it for us. Because, look at how manicured these trees are, and there's this perfect worked cropland, and somebody even buried this stash of corn right here just for us. And it's like, more often than not, it wasn't even like they took it from the natives. It was just like the wave of disease had killed people before they even arrived. And that's kind of what happened with the... with his tribe and with the Pilgrims landing there. But the tribe that had moved into the power vacuum, they asked Squanto to serve as translator, because he was like he could speak like great English, and he could speak their language because it was a similar dialect to his original people's language, and they'd kind of moved into the area that was their turf now, and so that's why he was like the go-between. So that's why, and that's part of the Pilgrims, you read their first-hand accounts from their diaries and stuff, just being shocked, because it's like, talking to these natives, none of them speak a word of English, having a super hard time communicating, and then all of a sudden they're like, bring in Squanto. Squanto's, hello everyone, how are you?
I wonder, what, this is my ignorance showing here, but what was the disease basically that started wiping everybody out?
99% of the time it's smallpox, but you can take your pick. Yellow fever, consumption gets really bad. Scurvy would not be quite so
that's what I read.
Prolific.
That
would come
they
later
got stuck
with
on the ship and they were starving.
Oh well,
their sugar ran out, and then they all started getting sick and stuff, and that's when they came into land. And that's when Squanto helped them out.
Yeah, that's what affected the Europeans. I was talking about what affects the natives, because they wouldn't have scurvy. Because, fun fact, horticultural societies that are a mix of hunting and gathering, the average individual in that society tends to have a much better nutritional profile, than you can see it in their bones and stuff, than someone from a purely agrarian or industrial background like the Europeans. So it's funny. Another funny story, Professor Fox, a friend of mine who did a bunch of surveys at the Battle of Little Bighorn, is the easiest way to tell the remains of an Indian warrior versus one of the Irish conscript soldiers that fell at that battle is to just look at their bones. It's the Irish ones are well, they're super malnourished. You could tell that they probably starved all through their teens and stuff like that. It's the native ones it's healthy, it's fine, and they're 6 inches taller because of it.
I wonder if something like that could happen now, where some disease. I mean, I'm sure it probably could, but it would be fucking crazy for just some disease to just come in and just start wiping everybody out like that. Like,
I mean,
it must
Do you want to ever sleep again?
I don't know.
Well, are you familiar with the Spanish flu from 1919?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. It called the Spanish flu, but it was just a swine flu that went through, and it killed hundreds of millions of people all around the world. And this was in World War I, and the soldiers brought it back from Europe. And it was really weird about that one is that it attacked the respiratory system. So what was funny is that older people who didn't have as good a lungs tended to survive. And it was all of your super healthy, like 24, basically like 18 to like upper 20s. They were like dead, like instantly. And then it was like the younger and the older who were less developed lungs who actually did better, which is very strange for flu.
Yeah.
And, it's a future flu pandemic is what keeps me up at night. My sister worked for the CDC for like 5 years, and you want to have fun Thanksgiving conversations? Have them with a CDC virologist.
Yeah.
My coworker that used to work here, she was on a program through CDC, and then she ended up getting hired, and she works in Atlanta at CDC right now. So it's always cool to have conversations with her.
Oh yeah. It's fascinating and terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like
She worked on the Zika. She went to Puerto Rico and worked on that. So yeah, just think about all the people who travel. It would spread whatever.
Be like some real life
really.
Planet of the Apes shit.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, that would
Even
be...
people who go international,
Yeah.
So many people travel.
Yeah, that's the problem. If it has a gestation period of like even 24 hours, it's like, well, then it's already all over the world just because of air traffic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Man, part of me is like, that would be kind of fucking crazy to live through, but then the other part would be like, no, fuck that.
It's a double-edged sword, getting into my history nerd for a second there. It's like, you look at the Black Death in Europe, and that spurred, like, a lot of the changes that eventually brought about, like, the Enlightenment and democracy and plural societies and stuff like that, because you had an overpopulated Europe, and then when 2/3 in some places of the population died, all of a sudden these nobles who were like, well, I can just pay you 1 farthing to harvest all my crops for the year. All of a sudden there's no one left, your crops are rotting in the field, and all of a sudden it's the servants' time to be like, well, there's only 10 of us left in the county, so, you know, we want 10 gold pieces each for doing it, and if you don't like it, suck it. Even though you're the noble, the power is now, like, with labor.
Yeah.
And it totally, like, upended Europe, caused, the English Revolution, fun tie-in, which would cause Oliver Cromwell, which would cause Puritans, and eventually the people, when the Puritans flee England, they would become the Pilgrims, who would form Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Crazy.
To bring it right back around.
Yeah. Do you do anything special for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, like I'm with my family a lot anyway, so it's just, like it's time for us to just be together and let the kids run wild. But I think about it a lot, and now that I'm older, because I feel like a lot of this stuff you don't get to really form your own opinion until you become an adult,
Yeah.
And I feel like it's really hit me more so like the last 5 years of my life, I'd say, like where you really think about it and like, man, should we even be doing this? Like, you know. And but I think again, like just educating, our kids on what really happened, why things are the way they are, and I think that's so important, because what they teach them in school is like, they leave a lot out, and I think as parents and as family, that could be a really good time to teach your kids real history or a different point of view of history.
I think a lot of people complain about Thanksgiving, but if we didn't have Thanksgiving, that would just be completely almost forgotten. Like, it would never really even be brought up. So, I think Thanksgiving is sort of a good excuse maybe to talk about it, or at least bring it into the consciousness a little bit more, because if there wasn't that holiday, then it would just be out there, no one would.
And a lot of people always say like, oh, why
Yeah.
are you crying around about this? It happened so many years ago, but really it was not that many years ago. And it's just, to me, it's not crying around. It's just like, where do we go from here? How do we
Yeah.
And it kind of set a precedent of how we're still getting treated today, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like that.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Taralyn? Do you guys do anything special for Thanksgiving or?
Yeah, well, we family time, watch football, eat. I always went to my dad's parents in the cities, so it was constantly driving. So when I think of Thanksgiving, I just think of being in the car for at least 5 hours.
Yeah.
2 hours there, 2 hours back. And then actually, my grandpa just moved up to Mora a few years ago. And so that's even more of a drive. But, I mean, it's worth it to spend time with your family and everything.
Because, I mean, we get it off for work, if...
Well, I didn't always... I always had to kind of move around working at a casino. It never closes, so... But it was always kind of important to me to do that so I can spend some time with elders that I don't get to see very often, so...
Yeah.
I look at it as like family gathering, you get to see all your family and
Yeah.
have a big fat meal.
That's
Have an excuse to overeat.
Yeah.
And then, I guess I didn't really know until, I knew we were going to talk about this, so I started, reading some things, and, there's some tribes on the East Coast that, totally, they fast during that day.
Oh, really? What do you think, because it didn't really occur to me until I started thinking about this, but, there's Thanksgiving, and then there's Columbus Day, so there's basically 2 holidays that, celebrate the fact that Native Americans were wiped out, basically. What are your opinions on on that, I suppose? It's I don't know. It'd be like having a holiday for the fucking Holocaust or some shit like that, which would never fucking happen.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it's cool that there's 2 Native American
holidays. A lot of people are all
holidays.
oh, this is America, and people are so proud that it's America. Yeah. So then they don't even think about the other side of things. They're just
Yeah. I think that's a lot of people's issues, where they just don't even think about it, or it's something that, they were never taught, and they never bothered to, look into it. And so, they're just yeah, America, whatever,
Yeah.
But, yeah, hopefully with shows like this and other things that, people at least get a better idea as far as, the history behind things and give it a little bit more thought rather than just turkey and football. But,
I was pretty fortunate for Columbus Day this year to go to the cities, and there they celebrate it as Indigenous Day. And at the Native Center there, they did a round dance. They had speakers come in. They had three kids that were protesting for Line 3. They talked for a while. Some elders talked. And then an artist from the area back home, he did a Star Wars theme for the round dance and got really cool outfits made in Star Wars gear, and then the kids got to dress up as their favorite superheroes in costume and dance. So my niece was a shawl dancer, she was Rainbow Dash, and she got to fight off some Star Wars characters. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you see the flyer for that powwow here in town? It's all fucking Star Wars shit. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
When is it?
It's December 15th, I think it is, or something like
13th
that.
to the 15th.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, but I thought that was an
It
interesting
is the
look for a
15th
flyer.
and the 16th of December.
No.
Yeah.
Also, within that round dance thing that they did, it was kind of the main point of it is they took the Redskins mascot, and that's what all of the little kid heroes were fighting off. Where
The
they basically
mascot.
beheaded the Redskins, and then the other one too. What's the other?
The Indians.
Indians.
Oh,
Yeah.
Indians and,
Cleveland
yeah.
Indians.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Chief Wahoo. Isn't that the Cleveland Indians mascot?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Don't you have a shirt that has a picture like that that says Caucasian?
Yeah, and it's got a white guy with a dollar sign above
Yeah,
his head.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've never seen this.
Yeah,
shirt.
it's like in the Cleveland Indians style, they're up
Yeah,
there, and
it
it's
looks like
it's
it,
Caucasians, and it's a white guy with a dollar sign above his head.
Instead of the feather.
Really, really dumb tangent, but you don't remember a Mad TV skit from the early 90s, do you, where the Washington Redskins get bought by this Japanese company, and they're like they buy all these U.S. teams and change them to new, more offensive mascots. So the Washington Redskins will now be known as the Washington Rednecks, and their mascot is a giant George Bush Sr. It's the early 90s with a big red neck.
Yeah. Nice. Did you see that? It was on Saturday Night Live a couple weeks ago whenever Larry David was the host, and he was some advertising special, he was getting some honor or whatever, and it was and here's your ads from the past, and it was it was oh, that's so gay or whatever, and then there was all this politically correct stuff. It was don't smoke, that's gay, or some shit like that. And then there was another one. It was all fucking just ridiculous, but yeah, it was pretty funny. Don't smoke, that's gay. That's your. That was the
history.
Yeah, I remember everybody used to say that. That's gay.
I still say that.
I know a lot of people still say that.
I'm more aware of it now, but yeah, I still say that. I don't know. That's funny.
Yeah, it's kind of awkward when you accidentally say it in front of your gay friend. It's
yeah.
Oh, well, you are gay, so I guess it is gay.
I know this is kind of off subject, but I just it reminded me of something. We had a training for work, and it's it's a teen pregnancy prevention curriculum and STI prevention. It's for Native youth, and anyways, the trainers came in from all different tribes, and there was a lady facilitating the training, and she was a non-Native lady, and so a lot of them were saying and part of the curriculum talks about transgender and gets into all of the different, the list of names, and one of the ladies well, I know I have a middle school boy and he says that's gay, but he don't mean it like how a lot of people might take it. She's that's just something that they say, and that's slang that they use. And so a lot of people, I think Native people understand that it's totally not even meant.
Yeah.
Gosh, I can't even talk today. Sorry, guys.
Well, I think
derogatory term.
Yeah, I don't think anybody. Well, I mean, sure, some people probably do, but I was trying to think back, whenever I would say that or say fag, it was never meant in it's just slang for. But I was never some super derogatory shit. It was just shit that we said.
Yeah.
But if
and
you
so
look at
trying
it,
to get
kind
that,
it kind of is.
Yeah.
It's substitute for that whack, or that or whatever,
Right.
Yeah.
And then especially in this day and age, it's a good point to if they ever move off the reservation, that other people might not view it as that's okay to say, what I mean?
Yeah.
It's totally opposite. But it reminded me of that.
It's interesting though that how politically correct we've gotten in the last 5 to 6, 7 years.
God,
Yeah, it's exhausting.
crazy.
I don't know. Even you can't even say retarded anymore. People get upset. I don't know. It's really upset. And it's not even meant like that. But
Do you watch South Park?
yeah.
I love South. Have you watched the new ones?
I don't
With the
think
PC
so.
principal? It's awesome. It's everything has to be politically correct. If somebody's doing something that, the transgender bathrooms, and they cover all that.
Yeah.
All the stuff that's making the headlines now. It's really funny, but they do it in in a comical manner, so it's really funny.
South Park's good like that, where they fucking Levi should have been here now. We're talking about South Park.
That's his punishment, is we're
Yeah.
going to talk about it without him.
Yeah.
Sorry, Levi.
He's yeah. I don't know.
So I wonder, kind of going back to the people, because I really didn't get shit on mine when I posted it.
Yeah.
On yours, you got people who commented quite a
Yeah,
long
some
post.
people really got into it.
Yeah. So I wonder what they do. A lot of people are really against it, which I totally understand too. I debate it in my head every year, but I wonder if you think they still eat Like as a
probably, I don't know. Well, my friend, one of my friends posted on their star like that. She doesn't even fucking like do anything for it. Yeah,
just like another day.
Like, yeah, which I don't know. I don't know if I mean, I don't fucking know. She don't have any kids or anything like that, so it's not like. I don't fucking know. I just think it's weird. I don't know.
And then I think one person said like it's just like another way for like the industries to make money.
Yeah.
And like I totally think that. Look at Valentine's Day, it's like totally.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, pretty soon it's not even gonna be Thanksgiving. It's gonna be Black
Exactly.
Thursday or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like less than 10 years ago, Black Friday was barely even a thing.
Yeah.
It was just media and.
Now
stores
Black
and stuff
Friday's
made
like a
such
who
deal
week
of it.
long, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been getting notifications.
Cyber Monday
you know?
and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. It's crazy. I don't know.
They turn everything into big.
Pretty soon 9/11 will be a holiday.
Just think about
Yeah.
the turkey sales. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like outrageous. You know.
I was
Just-
thinking
just
about
of
this
that
the
day.
other day, and it's something stupid to think about, but like everywhere you go, like you get free turkeys, like, you know.
Yeah, we had a free turkey.
Yeah.
Like shout out to Ransom Church.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
Did
I
that
wasn't expecting
some
it.
fucking dude just roll up on your house?
Yeah, it looked like a little family. There was like dad, mom, and a little girl.
That was
And I was
super
like in my
suspect.
pajamas. I was like, damn, I don't want to answer the door. But then you know you feel bad. You feel like you gotta. I'm like, thanks. You know?
Yeah, I was super suspect. Like last year, like this dude just rolled up to my. I live in an apartment. Rolled up to my door and was like, "Do you want a turkey or a ham?" And I was like, "What?" And then I said, "We already had a turkey," so I was like, "I'll take a ham." And then he gave us like a fucking bag of groceries and a ham, just like out of nowhere, just like
they have even a little paper like how to cook it and.
yeah. And I was like, "Did someone trying to poison me? Because this is an easy way to do it." I was like, "Who just does that? Who just fucking rolls up on someone's house and just gives them a bunch of food?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, fuck it."
Especially.
Pause for a second there. Our art-to-art guest, Zach Dresch, is in the house, so we had to stop. And while we were talking about Thanksgiving, do you have any like thoughts on Thanksgiving and the genocide of our people?
It's
It's like, Rob, what did you get me into?
I am so glad you asked. That's why I was here today.
Oh.
Oh.
We were talking about Thanksgiving.
Or just like what's your family do? Like,
Honestly, nothing. Like it's funny. Well, I have family going out of town, and other family. They live out of town, but I can't go to meet up because I have to work. So it's just one of those things that I'm always the person that has to work the holidays. So it's kind of that everyone else. Oh, I'm taking it off. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Working for you. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing.
You work at a grocery store, is that right?
Yeah.
This is maybe get back to my point. Like, what's up with like everybody gives away free turkeys? Like, are turkeys just super fucking cheap at that time?
It must be. I think
Or,
they,
like-
they have to buy two things. They buy one, you get another one free. That kind of deal.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm just
no.
thinking like from like a wholesale like fucking turkeys. There's just giving them away. Like you get them from your jobs.
Yeah.
People will just fucking roll up on your house and give them away for free.
Yeah.
Like
It's like
I don't know.
$18 per turkey, and they get another one free, and that's. Yeah, I work in the liquor department, so mainly people buy liquor to deal with their family members. That kind of thing. So
Yeah,
it's kind of
yeah.
like that's what I deal with, and there's going to be a lot of last minute customers on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Just being like
do you get a lot of like wine, champagne, or is it just like everything?
a lot of different stuff.
Mhm.
Each person has their own thing that they cope. That's the right word to
With
say.
the holidays.
Like,
A data analyst friend of mine one time said that the biggest drinking night of the year, bigger than like New Year's and everything else, is the night before
Yep.
Thanksgiving because everyone's putting up with family.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
back
'Cause it's-
home.
Thanksgiving kicks off all the holidays, so it's kind of
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
fuck, here we go.
That and Christmas.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next month and a half is our busiest of the whole year. And then January through June we get a bit of a break. So it's kinda
Yeah.
nice, but
Right on. Have you cooked a turkey before?
It's been a while. Like my parents, you know, like usually cook
Yeah.
up.
Have you cooked a turkey?
Oh yeah, I've cooked plenty of turkeys.
Yeah. Taralyn?
No.
Zach?
I make cereal.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know if that counts. But
I remember when I was in high school, me and my brother, like our parents were working, and so we were so paranoid about burning it. So we buttered it like every 30 minutes, but it was like the best turkey ever.
Nice.
So
I was watching an episode of Cooking with Gabe last year that I yesterday from last year at this time whenever I cooked a turkey. I was like, because I'm going to cook another turkey for Thanksgiving. No.
are you going to do it on your...
I might, but I was watching it, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, so this is it. And last year I cooked a turkey for the first time on Thanksgiving, and then I had that other turkey that fucking weirdo rolled up on and gave me that turkey.
Weird.
And then I cooked that on Christmas, but I fucking left it in my sink for like 3 days, like to like unthaw, and at that point it was like gross, like all like.
You're
Like,
supposed to unthaw
3 days is the one.
I know, I'm stupid. Point is, I ruined the Christmas turkey. Like, fucking, it was all, like, fucking, yeah. It was
slimy.
Yeah, it was slimy and, like, stinky and, like, it was.
Ew.
I think I remember your cooking with Gabe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You came and celebrated Christmas with us, because...
Yeah.
So basically, you have an episode where you set out to cook a turkey, and at the end, it's you describing how to order a pizza.
Yeah. The episode when I actually filmed it, like for the episode, like that turkey came out great. Like that was awesome.
Christmas.
Yeah, it was the episode, or I didn't even film it. I was just like, I know how to do this shit. Fuck it. And then then I fucked it up on the second time. So this Thursday I'm trying it again, but I think I'll learn from my mistakes this time. So.
Like slowly did the turkey start to stink, or was
yeah,
it?
Yeah, it stunk. Like before I cooked it, I was like, I should not have done this, but I was like, I've gone this far. Fuck it. I was just like, I might as well just pray for the best, and I put it in. So you
cooked the turkey?
Yeah, I cooked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stuck up the whole
you didn't eat it.
No, I took it out and was like looking at it, and I took a little piece off of it and I ate it, and I was like, nope, this is bad. And then I
Great way to test.
Yeah, I took it, and like we have a trash room in my apartment, and I fucking just took the whole tin, everything, and just put it in the fucking dumpster. So there was like a whole, like just fucking turkey with all kinds of shit around it, just sitting in our dumpster, like done. Nope. And then we went and had Christmas dinner with you guys.
Prime rib, and all kinds of stuff.
Has anyone ever been to Boss's Pizza? Don't they do free, like a free meal, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, Wednesday night.
Yeah,
sure.
it's
That's
like...
as far as I know.
Oh, really?
It's like a couple hours, I think. Or is it half a day?
I think
don't
it's
know.
like all day Wednesday or something like that.
Yeah.
Free meal?
Free, yeah.
Oh, shit, we're going to Boss's Pizza on fucking Wednesday, then.
They do it every year. It's pretty cool, you know, for people who don't have family or whatever.
That is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, like the day before.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what's up.
I think it's like I can't remember. I seen it like 12 to 5 or I don't know. It's a good length of the day.
So you guys ever cook anything different on Thanksgiving? Have you? Or anybody?
Cereal.
What's the best what's the best Thanksgiving cereal?
Count
Yeah. Can you buy that shit anymore?
I
like random.
I don't think so.
I think at Halloween you can.
Really? What was
Yeah,
the other ones?
Blueberry
Yeah, I was saying it was Blueberry, Count Chocula,
Frankenberry.
Frankenberry. When is that all three of them? There was
Yeah,
only
I
three,
think so.
right? Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember like the cookie one? That's
Crisp?
back. No. Oh
The-
wait. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
They
Where,
look like cookies.
Yeah.
Cookie Crisp.
where
Yeah,
they
Cookies
yeah.
little
for
criminal.
breakfast.
Yeah. Where they just have a bowl of cookies.
Yeah. I remember they
bowl
used
of
to, like
cookies
when
and
I
milk.
used to go skating when I was like in middle school. They used to give out small packages like that, like as you were leaving.
They have
Yeah.
Cinnabon cereal though. That shit is the bomb. I
What
don't
the
know
fuck?
if I've ever had it.
I think the rules are just off for cereal now.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
whatever.
Like 70 grams of sugar.
It's delicious though.
It's crazy.
Just pour it out. It's just a bunch of white refined sugar pouring out of the bag. You're not even trying anymore.
Just sugar.
It's the worst.
Yeah, I don't ever cook anything different.
Yeah, I don't think we have either.
don't think.
We cook the same thing every.
Well, my husband's
every-
family, they like a couple years back did like an Italian. They had like lasagna and pastas and all
For
kinds of-
Thanksgiving?
It was good, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
That's
really
My
good.
Stanford gives out gift cards to their employees, so you can either go to Honey Baked Ham, the Breadsmith, or like a fruit basket from Hy-Vee. So that's pretty sweet. I got the ham one year. That was like so good.
That's what I got last
Their
year.
turkey because Amanda, she worked for Stanford for like 3 years and she'd get that certificate.
Mm-hmm.
We'd get the turkey breast from Honey Baked Ham, and that's what we'd take like to our moms for the little Thanksgiving we have with her, and it's amazing.
Yeah, the ham was pretty good. I was like, man,
Yeah.
I wonder why it took. That's why I don't go there.
Exactly.
It's like $50 for like little half.
How much?
Ham. I don't know. They're pretty spendy though. I've never.
It's like $50 to feed like 3 healthy, appetited people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's that at Hy-Vee or like?
No, this is like
Honey Baked.
Honey Baked.
It's
What is
Wait,
that? A
is
restaurant or
this
something?
The
Seventh?
7th in Louise.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's like right off of
Oh, is
the
it like
strip
a
mall.
butcher or some shit?
Well, I think I don't know the
Special
back.
isn't just ham. Like,
Yeah, it's just a
glazed
Just a
special
ham.
fucking
place.
ham restaurant.
You can
They
kind of think
got,
of it like a
like-
deli, basically.
Yeah, because they have like there's like 20 different like mustards and weird random things in there, like honey and things like that.
It's a specialty
Yeah.
shop kind of thing.
Just a bunch of dead pigs back there. That's cool.
Yum.
See,
I
that's
know.
why I don't do turkey anymore. I always do I go to my folks for Thanksgiving, so I have turkey. But if I was by myself, what I do is another Hawaiian ham, because I'm really good at doing Hawaiian ham with the brown sugar and the pineapple juices and
yeah.
to
Oh,
get
really?
all down into it and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm gonna spend that much freaking time cooking
You see
something,
the look on his face.
I drooled a little bit there.
You did.
If I'm gonna spend that much time on a single meal, it's gonna be a fucking Hawaiian ham. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Isn't there like a way to like make turkey like in the ground? Is there a way to do that, or am I just tripping?
Maybe.
I've seen that. I don't
Google
know
it.
what
Yeah.
exactly that
I don't know.
I think it's like kind of like a poor man's version of smoking it, which
Yeah.
my family
Oh.
will do that. Where, especially my grandpa Richard, he built himself like a big smoke lodge, and
Yeah.
he would make like homemade German sausages, and he'd do like ducks and turkey and all sorts of stuff and smoke it, and then bring that. So you'd have that like out in the garage, and it'd be cold, and you just do slices of that. Just it
Yeah.
tastes fantastic, and then you'd have that as like a side thing with the like main event.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever done a turducken?
Yes,
How is that? I've never. We almost tried it one year,
Turkey
but I just
it's
wussed out at the end.
it's a lot of work, and my
No, I mean
bro-
not to make it, just to eat it. We were gonna order it from Hy-Vee.
well,
I
it's.
But
Here's,
how do you make it?
my brother made it. It's you put a duck inside of a turkey and then you fry it, and for all the work and the like whole like gigantic production in the garage with the giant fryer and everything. Which fun tip, they say not to do it in the garage. There's a reason for that, but my family being my family, they ignore that. But yeah, it's okay, but it's kind of like it's turkey and it's duck and it's fried and it's good, but for the work and everything else, and it's not like blow you away like this is the most amazing thing ever.
Okay.
It's still turkey, it's still duck.
Does it taste?
Have you had it fried before?
I'm thinking them cooked together. Does it give it like a different taste? Or?
The turkey is supposed to pick up a little bit of the wild flavor off of the duck, and my
They're different
palate's got
texture too.
very different in the meat. But
Yeah.
like as far as flavor transfusion, that happens. But I don't remember. This has been like 10 years, and I don't remember it being like, wow, it really changed the flavor of the turkey. I don't remember any of that. Everything fried just tastes like fried chicken. So
Yeah.
I imagine you pull the duck out of the turkey after it's done, right?
right,
Okay. And then it's just like they're each their own thing. You know.
Like-
yeah, you cook it at the
slice it.
same time.
Yeah.
And you
Okay.
pull it out and you carve it up, and
Yeah, I don't like duck, so I wouldn't be a fan of it. But I feel like you have to like duck.
I've never had duck.
I don't think I've ever had duck either.
Yeah, I had it in a soup at work, and I was just like, I'll try it.
soup.
And yeah. And it was like these really skinny noodles. I don't know.
Yeah, the only way I like duck is like baked like a turkey, or like I have a friend that does Thai cooking that will do like these spring rolls that have duck meat in them, and that's like fantastic. Anything she makes with it, I'd eat. That's duck, and she does that a lot. But
I feel like you have to know. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's kind of like pheasant. It's like you can eat it, and then there are people who know how to make it, and then it's like, oh, this is why people actually eat this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I made a pheasant before. It turned out really good. I put oranges inside of it,
Nice.
so it's really good.
What should I put? I'm making the turkey on
cheese.
Thursday. What should I put inside
Do you
it?
have it in the fridge thawing right
Yeah.
now?
Okay. It's in the freezer still. When should I take it out of the freezer?
Tuesday?
Probably. Let's see, maybe Monday. How many pounds is it?
15.
Okay, so yeah, maybe let's see. Yeah, maybe Tuesday morning.
And put it in
The
like
fridge.
in the
Like
fridge.
put it like in a pan or something, so when it starts leaking.
So like take it out of its fucking diaper.
No,
and
no,
all that
no.
shit.
No.
It's
No,
diaper.
leave it packaged. Leave it
Oh,
packaged.
okay.
Just put it on
Set
the
it-
pan.
So when it
Oh,
thaws and starts dripping,
Oh,
it's not
okay.
all over in your fridge.
All right, because I just put it in my sink last year. And
Yeah,
then...
that's not.
Oh, like some. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen people do that before, but it's probably already like ready.
My
like,
mom
cook
does
it
that
right
with,
away.
she'll have it in water. So
Yeah,
I
that's
always
what I
remember
mean, yeah.
walking,
Oh, cold water.
I say always remember walking up to it and poking it, because
Yeah,
it's just
me
floating
too.
there kind of in its own little bath. And
Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, when I was in my 30s, like a child, the little
That's
little
probably
5-year-olds are like, why you do that?
I think people put it in the sink when it's like getting close. You
So,
know,
like, it's put
not
in the
like
fridge
3
and
days
then
before. Like,
Move
Okay.
it to the sink.
yeah.
So Monday, put it in the fridge, and then what?
Tuesday.
Like
Tuesday
oh,
morning.
Tuesday, put it in the
Tuesday,
fridge.
Wednesday. Oh wait, no, maybe. I don't know. Maybe Monday night.
It
All right.
depends on your fridge, really.
What time are you gonna cook?
Now
Right away in
just
the
get
morning.
up, yeah, and because it takes like, well, and the Vikings play in the morning too, so I don't know. I kind of.
Just
Well,
call, call the Butterball
So
Hotline.
yeah,
this
we
week.
just I would just do Monday evening.
All right.
Fun fact, the number one issue that gets called into the Butterball Hotline is famously someone trying to make a frozen turkey the day of Thanksgiving at like 10 a.m. and
Oh,
calling
God.
and being, okay, what do I do?
There's a Butterball
crazy.
hotline. Like,
I
I didn't
didn't
even
know
know there
that.
was.
It's a very famous
Check it
marketing
out.
promotional thing that they have set up a hotline. They've done this since the 80s. It's
Who
like
the fuck
85 or
works
whatever.
that?
And and
Just wait
it's
for
a
some
marketing
calls
thing.
to
You
come
just
in.
call in and they'll walk you through how to do your turkey.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's your job every year.
Just
Like,
some guy named Dave.
yeah. Just some guys working there.
Just sitting there with this script.
It was like 12 lines.
Butterball.
Yeah. Thanks for calling the Butterball Hotline. This is Gabe. How can I help you?
Alright, can I place you on hold?
Sponsored by Aquaphoenix's voice.
Yeah. Or it's like an off-duty hostage negotiator, and so it's super intense, and he's just like, okay, you get that turkey out of the fridge right now. Stick with me, Gabe. We're gonna get through this.
You better have lyrics.
Yeah.
Lyrics snapped on.
I was gonna
John
ask.
McClane's other brother.
Yeah, Jim McClane.
Less ambition in his life.
Yeah, that's somebody's job though. Somebody's job works at, and somebody's like the supervisor. I'm the supervisor at the fucking Butterball Hotline. Like,
on Thanksgiving Day.
yeah, I don't actually
Biggest
get
time
on
of
the
year.
line. I just instruct my Butterball experts. Fucking.
Associates.
And go.
It is officially now known as the Turkey Talk Line,
No,
and there's even an
I think I like
episode
the
of the
better
West.
model.
Yeah,
That's
it's
probably
just
where I learned
Butterball
about it. There's an
then.
episode of the West Wing about it.
really.
Yeah.
So it's a big,
I think-
big deal.
They've been doing
Now
it
that I
for
know about
30 years. They have a team of professional. Oh, their pictures are even in here. It's surprise. It's a bunch of women that are helping people with this. But oh, that's the picture of the original crew. Because I was like, that's very stereotypical. Like 30 years ago, what I picture for the women who are going to help you on the phone with the turkey. It's the first turkey hotline crew. Okay.
Oh.
Now
like
that
wearing
now that photo
aprons
makes a lot
and
more
stuff.
sense. Yeah.
There needs to be like a movie about that.
Turkey
There-
hotline.
Yeah, like how it started.
From the makers of Hidden Figures. Hidden Helpers.
I bet Butterball makes a lot of money.
Oh, that's funny.
Hopefully.
Oh, I'll bet they do. Yeah, they're laughing about this all the way to the bank.
Yeah, that's exactly.
But what I was gonna get to was what should I put in my fucking turkey? Like, see an apple. Would apples be alright in there?
I've never tried an apple.
trying to think. Like last year, I was watching that video last night, and I just put fucking celery and carrots in there.
Yeah, I've seen you do that.
Yeah, and then but I was thinking like apples would be kind of cool. Just cut up a bunch of apples and throw them in there.
Give
Potatoes.
it a different taste.
Yeah,
Oh,
Pineapple.
pineapple. Might have to do that. Get like a can of pineapples, or like just like an actual pineapple.
Both.
Fucking don't even cut the stuff off. Shove
I mean,
it in there.
it sounds crazy,
Yeah.
but my mom, to keep me happy, they'll do like a turkey and a Hawaiian ham for me on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
So everyone else having turkey, and I've got my little ham.
Yeah.
You put that pineapple gravy on the turkey. Well,
Yeah.
you just put it on everything. It's what I'm trying to say is the gravy is fantastic. I
Yeah.
think I could put it on like broken glass, and I'd be like, "This is amazing."
Awesome. I think I might try that. Maybe some apples and some
Yeah.
fucking pineapples.
But for some reason that sounds weird but good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's weird but good.
All right.
A friend of mine I worked with, he did mayonnaise, or his wife covered the turkey in mayonnaise one year, and it was the juiciest turkeys he's ever
I
had.
would say that sounds like a nightmare.
And I assume that he gets out in like 2023 for that war crime.
Never had it. Sounds pretty
I wonder what it does. That's weird.
Maybe like in cases.
I mean, sounds nice.
Yeah.
I can't even fathom mayo on a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that can't fathom that.
Isn't that what Hardee's does?
And
You know, every
Yeah,
time
and
I-
it drives me nuts.
Every
Really?
time
I
I,
like
think
that
of
shit.
mayo, I think of what was that one movie where the guy who was like fat or whatever and sucked all that stuff out, and they were selling it as mayo.
Oh,
Ew.
gross.
Oh.
I don't know what the movie is.
It's like, oh god dang it, I can't
Went
remember.
from tasting really
But
good.
it's- But yeah. But
I remember in
yeah,
Van-
that
in
ruined
Van
mayo
Wilder.
for me.
In Van Wilder, they were
Oh God.
with the dog and all that.
Oh yeah.
I won't get into
That
it.
old chestnut.
They were selling dogs' pleasure outcome.
Outcome.
My pleasure.
The income.
putting it in eclairs and like selling it.
Oh, gross.
I don't know, as a prank.
Yeah.
To a fraternity or something. Yeah.
That's funny.
Teen comedies in the early thousands.
Yeah.
Would
Date
not-
what
movie
sides
was
are
the
you
movie
gonna-
that they liposuction or they sucked out fat and were like selling it as
Oh, yeah.
putting it on as mayo. 2006.
There you go.
What was it called?
Date movie.
I saw that movie in the theater.
I feel
Me
like
too.
I
Me
wonder
too.
I wonder why 5 people were there.
That comes am I early?
I saw it on like TBS or something.
Yeah. That was the last of those types of movies, and I was like done.
Yeah.
So you're gonna make any sides or what?
Probably just like, I don't know, stuffing and corn and a pumpkin pie. And I put a post last night on Facebook. It was like, yeah, come on through. You know, it's me and Larry. And then a bunch of weirdos start replying like, I'll come over. I'll bring my kids. Like, oh, no, delete that post.
Yeah,
Like-
just kidding.
Like, nope.
What was his name? The guy at the meeting earlier. He left it.
Vonnie?
Yeah, he's doing a Friendsgiving. That's a cool
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, that
That's
is.
what my
That'd be
friends do
fun.
that every year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have a Friendsgiving for like about, I don't know how many years we've been doing it.
yeah,
Next year we gotta do that.
yeah. Friendsgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Then you gotta have some friends, though.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
This is just like a big party,
Just
get
us.
drunk and exchange gifts with each other
Yeah.
or something.
Something. Yeah,
that's the nice part about this time of year. How nice everybody is.
yeah.
And then after New Year's, it's just like okay,
Yeah.
back to the.
It's like, fuck you, that's my recumbent bike.
It's actually the opposite in retail. They're actually
Yeah.
more evil during the holidays, and
Yeah.
people chill out
Get
after
over
the New Year.
here.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's probably crazy busy, huh?
Yeah. They people ask for the most outlandish requests, and if we can't honor it, then they just hate you forever. Sorry, we don't have the salted caramel whiskey you asked for, which exists. We
Oh,
have
I'm
it,
sure.
Yeah.
but
Sold out.
for those of you listening, we have like 6 left, so get it while it's hot.
Breaking news.
Funny. Right on. Well, I think that is probably a good transition point to we can get to our guest, Zach Dresch here. Keep wanting to say Mike. No. Like,
You seem like a Mike.
yeah.
Right, so Tommy boy, you look like a Helen.
Yeah. Zach Dresch is a comedian who is here in Sioux Falls. I've actually known of Zach for many, many years. Zach's dad is my engineer who runs Cat House Studios. I've worked with Mike for 15 years now, but known of you forever.
I feel like I've met you in passing a long time ago as well. Too.
Yeah,
you
probably.
recording stuff too. Yeah.
But yeah, like, how did you? Because this is weird. Like, I'm all old or whatever, but like, like I remember like being at Cat House back when it was still like at you guys' house or whatever, and then like Mike would always talk about his kid or whatever, and then so to me you were always like a 12-year-old kid, and then all of a sudden like you started like doing comedy and stuff like that, and I was like, oh yeah, Zach is not a 12-year-old kid. he's a man. It's doing comedy. And like how did that, like where did the love for comedy come from, and like when did you start performing, and just a little background maybe on all that?
Sure, yeah. Well, I grew up idolizing like Saturday Night Live, and I used to watch Comedy Central constantly with the stand-up and all the stuff like that, so I used to get influenced by all that, and then I started doing improv in college, and then I got more involved in theater, and I found that was kind of my thing. That's what I felt like I excelled at the most, because I had no other real aspirations to do anything else besides perform. I thought that was all I was good at, so I was like, I want to try and figure this out. And I didn't think about stand-up till junior year of college when we were at a theater festival thing, and there was an open mic night, and I talked to my professor. I'm like, hey, I might do some stand-up comedy. I might write some 5 minutes worth of material. He goes, hey, it's your funeral. Thanks, professor.
Yeah.
I'm sure I feel like he said something like, oh, that's tricky. He didn't say it's your funeral. I exaggerate. So I tried it out. My first crowd was about 200, 300 people.
Oh, crap.
Wow.
And so it went over really well.
Yeah.
It went well, and so I just kept doing it.
That's cool.
And then I found local stand-up open mics in town here, and I just kept sticking with it. I've been doing it for 4 years, but I feel like it's been 2 because the first 2 were crap.
Yeah.
So I didn't think I was very funny the first couple of years. Because I'm still finding my voice. You're always finding your voice no matter what. And it's just a constant. There's nights where it's great, nights where it sucks. And it's usually the nights are great are the ones you don't plan on being great.
Yeah.
The ones where you plan on it being great, the ones that suck.
Yeah.
That's the really big downside. It's like I try to go to every open mic not expecting a damn thing.
Yeah.
Because that way I don't get my hopes up. It's fine. If it goes well, it's like, I had a good set. Or if it's okay, it's like, I had an alright set. But if I'm like, this is going to be the best set I've ever had, and like walk away in tears. So like, which happens, like, not in tears, but like, really bummed. I'm like, damn it, why didn't I not do well at that?
What happens, like, okay, you're up there on stage and stuff's just not landing, and you're like, do you panic? You're like, oh shit, like,
You switch up like the jokes.
I switch up.
Yeah.
I will either switch up or last week I gave up and walked off stage.
Oh no!
It was just not my night. I had a rough evening. We were starting our first open mic at Wood Grain last week, and I didn't realize I had to bring my own equipment. And so it was 5 minutes before showtime, and I had to run to my house, grab the equipment, which is over on 12th and Marion.
Yeah.
And it's over at 8th and Phillips, which is a bit of a distance.
Yeah.
And so I basically had to bull rush my way home and grab my equipment and then go to Wood Grain.
Crazy.
Do that set, and I was hosting it. And then after you're flustered and pissed off that you messed up, your motivational brain is not in functioning mode.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of running through the jokes. Those jokes didn't go too well. And so I'm hosting the rest of the show just in a bad mood.
Yeah.
And people liked the show, which was fun, and that was exciting, but I was in such a crabby mindset that I was just focused on like, oh, I messed up the whole way. And then Wiley's does open mics the same night. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to redeem myself and go do an open mic at Wiley's.
Oh, that's cool.
Audience wasn't really responding to any of the new jokes I had, and so I basically just said, that's all I got tonight. Sorry, guys. Like, I just wasn't feeling it. And so I have bad nights, and some people say, hey, it wasn't as bad as you thought. It was just new jokes. They didn't work out. But I'm my own worst critic. and I
Yeah.
take it pretty hard. So
I know, as a performer, I know how that goes. Like, there's sometimes you're on stage and you're like, this is the worst set I'm having right now, and then other times where you're just like, yep, this is awesome, everything's going great. And then,
Do you like fill your crowd out? Can you tell if they're gonna be like laughing or not? You know?
If I tell like a edgier joke and if they don't respond, then I'll know not to tell the edgier jokes the rest of the set, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I work at IV and I performed at my Christmas party.
oh no,
Last year. I did
that would be my worst nightmare.
35, 40 minutes of jokes.
35 minutes.
And
Fuck,
the first 20 to
That's a long
25,
time.
the first 25 minutes were all Hy-Vee jokes, and those killed. And then I
Yeah.
started talking about my personal life, crickets.
Yeah.
Like, I had a joke about my hair, and then like pubic jokes, and they were not into it. And my friends watched me like I had to keep it cleaner than I usually do. I'm not that dirty.
Yeah.
But like I like to be able to have the option to let loose a little bit.
Yeah.
And so they told me, I could tell you were holding back quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, yeah, you're right. I tried the carpet joke, that backfired. So I'm like, the joke is essentially the carpet does not match the drapes, it exceeds it. And, based on my appearance.
Yeah.
And everyone was just like, ew. And I'm like, okay. I have to cut 10 minutes of jokes here.
Alright, I'm done. Thanks. Have a good night.
So I'm trying to. My challenge is to try and write clean sets, and also sets that I'm just like I don't care. I'm just going to do what I do.
Yeah.
That's the appeal, I suppose. So.
That's what's cool about stand-up is like you can write stuff and then like try it out like immediately.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, whether how often, like if something doesn't go over, like say you do a set tonight and then you wrote a new joke and it didn't work, do you continue to try that joke until you know for sure it doesn't work, or like are you one time it doesn't work and you just
50-50.
Yeah.
Some nights I feel like I just butchered the delivery, then I'll keep trying.
Yeah.
Or if the thing I said on stage just sounded like gibberish, then I won't say it anymore.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where if the joke doesn't work, I literally I like to be honest with the audience and say, that didn't work.
Yeah.
And then I'll just move on.
Yeah.
Like a lot of us tend to do that. I like to acknowledge that it didn't work out. Cause
Sometimes I think that would probably lightens the blow a little bit.
Yeah, the audience
Yeah.
laughs a little more because I know some kind of like comics just like to move on from it, but it just seems a little awkward to me.
Yeah.
Just kind of, I'd rather be straightforward with the audience. Be like, I try and think of a clever retort to be like, oh, that just you could file that under a dictionary for failure, or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
I know.
it's a mixed bag.
Say like being in crowds, like because I've seen you perform a few times at Wackos and at Bosses and stuff like that, and like being in the crowd whenever someone's just bombing and they don't acknowledge it, it's like that makes the whole crowd like sort of like cringy and just like they kind of feel bad for the person, like, oh, this is rough.
Yeah.
So I think if you acknowledge it and then move on, it's sort of like lightens
Instead of acting like it didn't happen, you know.
lightens the load a little
It's
bit.
awkward if you act like it didn't happen. Sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. It's just, you have to really feel it out.
So how much prep time do you put in?
I try some weeks I just come in. I have a list. I wrote down a list and I just put it down next to my stool and I look at it. Other weeks, if it's a set that I really wanted to make sure was memorized, if we have a contest, sometimes we'll do a contest. Whoever wins gets the award and gets to do a guest spot or host a show. And so I'll over prep a little bit to try my best material, and so I'll memorize. I have my own internal set list in my head, and I just treat it like a band would their own songs, and just kind of like, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how I do it in my head. Everyone has their own system, I think, but that's how I always typically do it. I always think, what's the best thing I can open with? What's the best thing I can close with? And I throw everything in the middle. That's how I do it. And so I think of peaks and valleys and what can I throw in that's expendable? What can I get rid of? And so
I think because you host a lot of events too, right?
Yeah.
What do you prefer to do? Do you like if you had the choice of like hosting an event or just being a performer at it, what would you prefer to do?
Well, I'd rather be a performer.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are the same way. And so I kind of have to host a lot of the time.
Yeah, because I feel like if you were the host, like you might fuck up here, but then you come back and try to redeem yourself here or whatever.
The struggle with being a host is you have to my friends have always said you have to be okay with being the one mediocre comic that gets the audience ready at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
You have to be okay with not stealing the show.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm kind of like, I like being the guy that steals the show.
Yeah.
Being honest, that's
Sure.
I prefer, but being a host, you have to realize, okay, you're just the guy that's here to warm the crowd up, and that's it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's, but a lot of people hate hosting, so I kind of have to step up and be like, okay, I'll host. Like a lot of the open mics in town, I'm the host of them.
Yeah.
Because Booblitz is gone. Dan Booblitz is gone. He used to host a lot of them, but he moved to Huron. So
he's gone.
Yeah, he pretty abrupt actually. It's like, yeah, I'm done.
Does he still do comedy and shit?
Oh yeah, he's still doing it.
Oh, okay.
He just moved to Huron with a girlfriend. So, but yeah, so it's kind of me, Nathan Holtz, and Luke Johnson, a couple others host too. Whenever I can't be there, they'll host. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things that I kind of have to be the hosts.
Yeah.
For those kinds of things, but honestly, it's fun. It's one of those things that they seek you. They actually seeked me out and asked me to host this kind of stuff. So which is honestly, it's kind of a good pressure. It's like, hey, you set the tone for the whole show. Yeah, that's why they asked me to host a lot.
For sure, yeah. Like a good host will get everybody.
Yeah. There's a lot of hosts that will like try and tell jokes in between each comic. I'm like, just freaking get to the next comic. That's how, as an audience member, that's how I'm like, okay, we've been here like 2 hours. Let's get around this up. Like,
yeah. As far as like creatively, like I'm always interested in like an artist, like their whole creative process. Yeah. Like how do you write jokes, or is it just like, do you sit down like, okay, I'm gonna write some jokes today, or is it just stuff that happens during the day and
stuff that happens? I cannot sit down and write. I've tried.
Yeah.
I've tried different experiments. Like I've tried like drinking a little and then sitting down alone in my basement, and I just come up with like 2 words. And it's just, and I don't even drink that much. I just thought, a lot of people write stuff when they're drunk, so I'm like, maybe that would work. I actually got tired and fell asleep. So it's one of those things. I just talk to people and I joke around, and then that's how I get material. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's good. And then I write it on my phone. Right on. So I can't write when I'm pressured to write.
Yeah, that's always like, I don't know, like it's always fascinating to me just to learn from other people's creative styles, and like no matter what type of art they're doing, whether it's music or
because I'm in a couple of bands too. And then you come up with like riffs and stuff in your head. Yeah. That's how I come up with stuff. Yeah, and then I just kind of try and transcribe it to my bandmates to see how that makes sense. But
to maybe talk about some of the, because you are in a couple bands.
I'm in 2 bands. One of them's all originals. We're called The Disarmed. We kind of play 90s based kind of rock music, like Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, that kind of stuff. That was our main influence. Our band name is named after a Smashing Pumpkins song called Disarm. We've been around for about 4 years. We're a 4-piece. We were a 3-piece the first 3 years. And we had another guy, our friend Ben, join us a couple years ago to fill out the sound a little more, because our singer didn't want to just be pushed to the corner. Oh, you're the guitar guy. He wants to kind of be a little bit freer, and some harmonies thrown in and stuff too. So we do that. We just did a show last night. We opened up for the singer of Hinder. At Biggs. It went pretty well. Yeah. I had a cold, so I immediately went home after the set. I was like, you guys, I have to work at Ivy in the morning. I need to sleep. So like, I heard it went well. So, but it's interesting playing in such different crowds all the time. Like there's shows, different venues that are bigger. That it's crazy that we're playing this place, and it's just kind of. I feel like we're kind of. I don't know how to put us in a, like, I know people pigeonhole artists all the time in town, like, oh, you're this kind of band, you're that kind of band. Yeah. Here, you'll fit into this festival more than this festival. So it's kind of like, we don't really know where we fit in. Yeah. But I think that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, that is a good thing.
I always view that as a positive. I used to not. I used to be like, oh, we're just going to be thrown into the gates of hell. I don't know. Like, I don't know. But I feel like we could fit in with any crowd. Like, we're heavy enough, we could play with the metal bands. But we'd be like the diet soda of the metal bands. And then we can fit into the garage rock kind of style too, for like the indie rock kind of total drag kind of crowd. We can fit in with that too. So I mean, we're kind of all over the place with that. And then my second band, I'm in a Blink-182 cover band. Yeah. And it's called Aliens Do Exist. Yeah. Awesome. And we're playing next Saturday, so that'll be fun.
Where are you playing at?
Biggs.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be a good time.
Right on. What do you prefer to do more, like comedy or music?
I tend to focus on one more than, like, than the other for like a week, and then I switch. My brain is more excited to do one week and then the other week. Like this week, it's kind of more music based since I did like 4 comedy shows this week. I'm kind of like music. Like if you do too much of one thing, you get tired of it. That's why I like having 2 outlets.
Yeah.
So what instrument do you play?
I'm a drummer. Okay. And in the Blake cover band, I do vocals because some songs I can do the nasally whine pretty well. the Blake 182 is known for their trademark kind of like I don't know how to describe it. Like I'm sad. Like that kind of thing. So we all trade vocals and that kind of thing too. So at some point I want to learn guitar because I want to learn to write songs on guitar so I can tell the band, hey, this is a G chord, play that chord instead of just huh? Like you know that note, huh? And they're like, I don't. No, my friend Ben in the band Disarmed, he's a music theory kind of person. Oh, so you mean G minor?
Yeah.
Oh,
I had to take a music theory class in college, and it was the fucking worst. Yeah, it's like worse than like algebra or geometry and shit like that.
Yeah, I took one music theory course in college. It was
it was a nightmare.
I took intro to music theory.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what I took, and it was just like I don't know what the fuck is happening here.
It definitely helps when you're composing songs, but like, yikes, I can only like write them down and just be like, oh, that sounds like that.
Any good comedy groupie stories? Are there comedy groupies? No.
No, not really.
I don't know. I keep waiting for these podcast groupies to show up, but fuck.
I've been waiting 3 years.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Like, it's not like groupie situation, but like comedy's getting way more acknowledged now in the scene than it ever has before.
For sure. Like just watching. I think comedy. There's like a whole like scene now, like comedy. In town here, when maybe like 2 years ago there really wasn't that big of a scene, to where like once Wacko's closed, then like bosses like sort of had to step up to give a home to all these people, which is kind of cool that they did that. And now now there's a club at Boston's.
I've had so many scenarios in my life where one door closes, another opens. It's insane.
Yeah,
it's just essentially like every time something unfortunate happens, like Wacko's closing, I look at it from a perspective like, okay, what's next? Yeah. And then for about a month, it was so uncertain that it was kind of sad. I was like, what are we going to do? And then all of a sudden, brewery after brewery is like, hey, we want to do an open mic. Like, when can we do it? And there's still open mic. Like, Hydra, we're doing a Hydra now. Yeah. You know, Fernson.
What about Monks?
Monks does more improv stuff. I think Basement Dwellers has done stuff there. I'm not sure about stand-up quite yet, but at some point they will.
I went to Lucky's last night, and for the first time went to the basement, and that looked like a stage for.
They used to have.
Do it. Yeah. I think they don't like doing it anymore, as far as I've been told.
Yeah, I went to a show a long time ago, like 6 years ago or something.
They were fat daddies back then.
Yeah,
they used to do it. I don't think
it was a pretty good crowd. I remember being there. But.
Maybe they had a bad experience there and just don't want to do it anymore. That's my guess. But
I think, because like the people that owned Lucky's or own Lucky's didn't own that downstairs part or something like that. So it was like 2 different businesses trying to run out of the same building. Or
something. I think the best one we had was when Niblitz was under, what was that place called? The Sioux Falls Brewery or whatever.
Oh yeah.
What was it called?
I can't remember. I know where.
That brick building.
Yeah.
They brewed their own beer in there.
Yeah.
But underneath was the comedy.
Yeah, that was like a long time ago.
Yeah. Like 10 years ago, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember. But
anybody remember?
No. You're not talking about like Touch of Europe or something, are you?
No. Okay. It's over by what is that building now, Gabe?
I don't know. I don't think anything is in there now. It's like over by like. Well, there's something definitely there, but I don't know if it's like a bar or anything like that.
Phillips?
Yeah, it's somewhere over there by like 8th and Railroad, somewhere around there.
I might have been too young to go there, so I don't remember.
Yeah, it was like
Brick. Did it used to be called Brick something?
Yeah, some
Brick.
The Brick House.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
So it's on Phillips.
Well, it's just off there.
Yeah.
The backside.
I can't remember. I've definitely been there before a few times. I remember seeing the Noblemen perform back. That was like one of the first hip hop shows I went to.
So great, so great there.
Yeah, like way in the fuck back in the day.
For a while there, I remember being in high school. There, the only place to really perform here was like the Cathedral Underground, something underground. It was like a church basement, like 2008, 2008, something like that. And I remember going to a couple shows there. I used to play shows at Nutty's when I was 15. Felt so out of place.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. Sioux Falls has really grown. Like, yeah, around 2008, 2009, that was about the time. Maybe like 2007, somewhere around there, was like whenever we started getting like actual venues where people could perform. Because before then, like 2006, like I would do a show here in Sioux Falls like once a year, and it was like fucking never.
It was always, what was it? Was it Nutty's?
Yeah, well, it was like, Nutty's was like the first place I think that really like stepped up and you could do like shows there.
Yeah.
They had Boonies for a while.
Yeah, Boonies.
And then once they closed, it was like, well, what's gonna happen now? And then Biggs stepped up, and then
the District. There's been some things there.
Yeah.
Icon has really taken a lot.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah, the Icon and District and those places are starting to do comedy now more too. They want to bring in comics that'll build a following, and like Kyle Kinane's coming here in March.
Yeah.
So excited.
So that'll be cool. That'll be awesome. I'm excited for that show.
I'm really like it. I've always wanted. Here's another question here for you. Like, I've always wanted to try out, stand-up comedy, but I'm a coward. So like, like, what advice would you give to somebody to like that like wants to try it out, or like what would what's the?
I would just take a notebook around with you, and then whatever funny thoughts that you come up with while you're talking to people, write them down.
Yeah.
And then put together a 5-minute set, and then when you're ready, come to an open mic and do a set, and then see how you do.
Yeah.
That's my advice. That's what I always do. Like Nate Holtz told me, the only difference between a funny person and a comedian is a notebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true.
That's.
I'm sure you have a lot of good stories.
I was trying to.
And every conversation we have with you, you're always a funny guy, so I think it'd be a great time.
I always want to try it, but I'm afraid. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm a coward, like I said. So.
And if you always say it's my first time, the audience just goes, "Yeah."
Yeah.
First time.
Yeah.
And second time, ooh.
Just say it every time you go out.
Yeah. Didn't you learn anything?
This is my 5th time. We know. Guys, been with me. It's my 250th time. I'm a little nervous.
Whatever happened to Sioux Falls tonight, or whatever?
It's kind of on hiatus. I don't even know how to describe what's going on with that shit. It's like, I think all of us, we put it together and we had a lot of fun doing it, but it was a lot of work to do that show. And it's one of those things that Dan Bublitz was like the main person in charge of the show, and he moved away. And
so now it's
kind of on the back burner for now. I would be down to do something similar to that in video form in the future.
Yeah.
I just don't know how we could do it. Maybe we would just have to find, like, if we all want to do a once a month type of show.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's one of those things that there's so much going on in Sioux Falls now, plus all of us have so much on our plate. Like, I've got 2 bands, I got stand-up, and then work full-time. It's just kind of like one of those things that all of us were getting burnt out, I think, towards the end there. Once we were doing the 4th show, we were kind of just like, okay, because we want, like, all these people wanted to write for it, but none of us really had time to write.
How many episodes of that did you guys do?
4.
4?
Okay. And the 4th episode got to be kind of difficult. We had to film it in the afternoon. We wanted to film it at night, but it was just such a conflict with a bunch of stuff going on that everyone involved with the show was just kind of like, can we take a break? And then that break turned into a longer break, and it just kind of ended up. So I would like to come back to it at some point. But
yeah, I thought that concept was really awesome. Like, I'm surprised it's like such a simple concept that like nobody had done it before.
No, I would like to come back to it at some point. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I guess time will tell. I hope to find some sort of route to take and maybe team up with the White Wall Sessions guys or something and do something. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Interviews and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, they do that shit at Last Stop, right?
Yeah,
the White Wall. Like, that could be like a perfect.
I could do a Carson Daly kind of thing, except not be a tool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Every time I see Carson Daly, I'm just like, you're such a tool.
Yeah. Right on.
Jimmy Fallon used to impersonate Carson Daly. He'd be like, "I'm Carson Daly. I'm a massive tool."
Yeah. It's funny. I think, that should about do it. Why don't you tell us maybe where we can find you online, or if you got any upcoming gigs you want to tell us about?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what we got coming up here. I host open mics every other week at Fernson and Woodgrain, respectively. So one week we'll do Fernson on 8th, and then the week after we'll do Woodgrain. So I'm at Fernson this Tuesday the 21st. No, it's Fernson. Yeah, did I say Fernson?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm on Dayquil meds. I have a cold. Yeah, Fernson this Tuesday the 21st, and my Blink cover band is at Biggs Bar Saturday the 25th. And the Disarmed, we're looking to put our album on vinyl soon. So
nice,
sweet. Album, so next 3 or 4 months is the hope to get the album out, and we have CDs available around town, like Total Dragon Last Stop, but we want to get. I think vinyl's kind of the thing that's hip and happening.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said hip. It's the thing to purchase at this point, so we wanted to get a vinyl copy out there. So
yeah,
that'll be out soon.
It's amazing how vinyl has taken off. I was reading this thing in Wired about how Sony had mothballed and had one vinyl factory left, and was just like totally like preserved and mothballed and like shuttered. And now they're like bringing it back online because they sold more vinyl this last year than they've sold in like 30 years or something like that.
I just love owning the big copy of the album. It's like
a
big cookie.
I've always wanted to make a vinyl, but it's like it's like really expensive to do vinyl. There's a dude in like Spearfish or some shit like that does like what is it, 7 inches or 8 inches or whatever.
I think so, yeah.
I looked into that, but you can only do like 2-3 songs on one of those or whatever.
Yeah. What we're doing, I think, is like we're doing a bundle deal. We're getting 300 for like $1,600. And you just put the cover on the front and then the lyrics on the back, and just kind of keep it like that. That's simple, but
yeah,
we're a band that likes to show our lyrics what we have, and just kind of so they can read along.
Yeah,
so that'll be fun.
I'm gonna out hipster all of you because yesterday on my podcast I said I was gonna start putting that out on Edison wax cylinders.
Oh yeah,
you know, you wouldn't know about it, but it's gonna be huge.
Yeah, right on. Fucking A. Well, shit, man. Thanks for coming through.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Taralyn, for coming through. We got we can end the show on actually this is for our native hip hop spotlight or whatever for the week. I'm actually gonna be putting out which I haven't done in a long time, through Night Shield Entertainment. I'll be releasing an artist named Trackz, which some people might be familiar with, but we're putting his album out next year, and this is from Trackz. What is the fucking song that I gave you?
All I Can Do.
All I Can Do. He's from Rosebud. He's from back home. We did a song called Dream Girl on my last album.